Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards podcast. I'm the journalist Sincere. That is my partner, Uncle E. And tonight we have the pleasure of speaking with Brewin of the Juggaknots. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, man. Peace, y'all.
We're going to take it back to the early days and bring it up to 2024. But before we do that, how are you feeling today, sir?
You know, just it's Mondays. Mondays do what Mondays do. So, you know what I mean? I was up in there with my kids. You know, they doing what they do, and I'm trying to make sure that they do what they need to do. But, you know, I love it, so I ain't complaining.
No doubt. For those who may have never known where you're from, and for those who just need, to get back into the groove of things with Brewin, can you tell everybody where you were born and raised?
I was born in the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx. I guess by the time I was like a teenager, my family moved to New Rochelle, New York, which was like, I guess, like a bus ride away. It's like the Bronx, Mount Vernon, and then New Rochelle. So it was, bugged out time in the 80s in that area. A lot of wild stuff going on, crack era and all that. And then otherwise it was really dope. It was hip hop. So
you mentioned the 80s, the crack era. I imagine you were a teenager around this time. Can you just give us a visual of what was going on during that era, the Bronx 80s?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was born in 74. So a lot of that stuff that, you know, around 80, between like 84 and 86 was heavy. So, you know, it just, people were like, oh, the Bronx is scary. It was dope. Bronx was dope. So, I mean, hip hop and the crack era, I think hip hop beat them by a nose. Like hip hop was, you know, ubiquitous in the hood. A little bit before crack kind of took over, at least in my side of the Bronx. I'm from the Northeast Bronx, so like there's definitely tougher areas. But at the time, you know, when I was younger, my area was real diverse. You know, American Black, Caribbean Black, Puerto Rican, Italian, Irish. And then I guess by the time, you know, like start to be like 10, 11, that's kind of the white flight definitely kicked in. And then, you know, kind of concurrently, hip hop was there. Definitely kind of like putting his flag down. And, you know, that a lot of that had to do with the dudes who were from there at the time. There were, you know, a lot of DJs on the come up. Chuck Chillouts from that hood. Funk Master Flex was in my grammar school. You know, DJ Breakout. He did a lot of like parties and stuff out of Edenwald. And you know, there was just a lot of classic dudes. Slick Rick. The middle school I used to teach, Slick Rick went there. So did AG, Andre the Giant. So there was just a lot of good classic energy. And again, it's the northernmost, easternmost part of the Bronx. So you could walk a couple of blocks and you were in Mount Vernon. So, you know, you would see Have, you know, kind of like doing his thing. So then, you know, when the crack started, you just seen cats getting money. you just saw dudes that you knew who were like just regular kids, and then they had like 4-finger rings, and then they had dookie links, and a lot of those dudes were my friends. I never messed with none of that, but a lot of my friends did. So, we go out, and I was usually like one of the younger kids, and they were like, "Yo, throw the link on him." You know what I mean? I was a mascot, so give him some jewels. So that's how it was. I was like one of the younger dudes in the crew, and then by 12, I'd already started rhyming. So that was another reason to kind of keep me around.
Right.
And
What what were some of the things that you were into though, besides the rhyming? Sports. As a kid, what were you doing around the Bronx at that time?
I was like, fairly regular. I can't say I was like an avid comic collector, but I collected comics.
Okay.
Like I said with hip hop, I had a group of us who we would go and like collect boxes and tape them together,
Mm-hmm.
and then take another layer and then put that on top, and so that we could do like when we was breakdancing, you could like flip and land comfortably.
Okay.
So we was always going to Pioneer on Baychester. Shout out to my man Raj. And we would just constantly get boxes. So after a while, it was like, half an inch, 3/4 inch thick, just layer of boxes. And every layer we would tag up. You know what I mean? Because there was definitely, graph was also pretty heavy in the neighborhood. We had, like definitely some well-known graph dudes tagging up. So, it was like all levels of hip hop. It was definitely all levels of hip hop. Before they were saying the 4 elements, it was just like everything that was cool was hip hop. I mean, obviously, I was a real good student. That was important to me. That was important to my family. I love to read as a young kid, still do. And just running around, like getting bikes, like making ramps, doing dumb shit, just having fun, playing a lot of ball. I played a lot of ball as a youngin'.
Yeah.
I didn't really do the baseball too much.
Right.
Football.
Did you play organized basketball?
Yeah, I play organized. A lot of my friends, everybody played ball. So I had dudes who played for like Riverside Church,
Gauchos. Yeah.
I was like second to last cuts with Gaucho. Shout out to my man Chris Toro. He was on the Gauchos. He was actually on the team with Cam. Cam was like a year younger than him. So he played with Cam. He was the first one to tell me about Shamgar Wells, because I was like, "Yo, who's the illest dude in the city right now?" CT. He was like, "Yo, this is cat Shamgar, he just doing weird. He's doing weird shit. Like he's just like he's doing shit that like we haven't even thought of, and he does it comfortably." So that was cool. It was Young Life. That was another team in Harlem. Children's Aid Society. So, you could go, you could play. And we all, we did. There was a lot of good, just good run. I'll play Yonkers. I'll play in Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon got ballers.
Yeah.
And we would take like 10 of us would come from the Bronx on our side, walking to Mount Vernon and try to play them. And I mean, honestly, like Mount Vernon gets busy with basketball. If you don't know the history, McCray brothers and Gus Williams.
I heard of him.
Yeah, all them dudes are legends. And then Rasul Salahuddin, he was like my age. They called him Baby Jordan. Ridiculous athlete. Shout out to my man Dean Marshman. So like we all knew ball players. And from just Lower Westchester, Bronx, Harlem, like you heard about all these dudes, and you would go out and you would see dudes. I remember going out to the Fever one night. I think it was I was home from school my freshman year of college, and we saw Jamal Mashburn in the Fever.
Oh,
and he had a Clippers hat on, and it was like before the draft, we were like, so me and my man were like, yo, Mash, what's good with that Clippers hat? What's going on? He said, yo, it just matches my kicks, B. Like, come on, like, relax. It's like, it ain't no insider trading. Like, I'm not going to end up with the Clippers.
Right, right.
And he got drafted by the Heat.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that was a good look, and it was just an ill area. Slick Rick grew up in that area, like I was saying. So we would see him all the time. He had multiple cars. He had like a bucket where he would run around and run errands for his mom, and then he had the fly whips.
Okay.
And we wanted to be like Rick. Like I remember getting tapes before he got signed to Def Jam. There was tapes floating around our neighborhood, and it had like there was a version of Indian Town with Impeach the President underneath it, which was crazy. That was, to me, was so much doper than the Dave, because there wasn't no
right.
There wasn't no hook. We was just rocking him and Vance Wright. So joints like that went around. It was just a good time, man. It was a good time. It was a good time to grow up in the Bronx. And I enjoyed that. I loved it. I think it had a lot to do with who I am today.
Dope. I love playing ball, man. That's why I kind of keep asking you about that. And then something really that intrigued me is, how the hell did you end up getting coached by Peter Nash?
I'll break that down for you. So there was a couple of there were like basketball camps in the summer, and it was like if you was dumb nice, you went to 5-star. I was not dumb nice. If you was if you just wanted the ball, you went to the CYO joint. That joint was like $120 for 2 weeks. Room and board, everything. But everybody went up there. Like everybody had, that shit was dumb fun because everybody would get their own cabin. So there was like a Cardinal Hayes cabin. There was like a Mount St. Michael cabin. There was like, like Misfits. That would be like Salesian, Stepanak, Iona Prep. They would have a cabin. I was in the Mount St. Michael cabin because that was all the dudes I grew up with, even though I didn't go to Mount St. Michael. So we would raid each other cabins and do dumb shit. And so that was one camp where you would go and you would ball like in the hot sun, like you would ball. It was fun. It was a lot of good run. And then there was a joint called Bruns Big Apple Basketball Camp.
Okay.
So George Bruns played with Dr. J on the Nets when they were in Long Island. And he was like an early version of like a John Paxson type, Steve Kerr type dude. He just had the gun.
Right.
So his main thing was like, yo, you come to the camp, I'm gonna teach you how to shoot, this, that, and the third. So that was run by him, but the main administrator was this dude named Ray Nash. Now, Ray Nash was a big name in high school basketball in New York. He coached Bishop Ford High School for years. A lot of good players came out of there. Shout out to my man James Brickhouse. There was a lot of good Brooklyn dudes came out of there. But he also coached the Brooklyn Queens Empire State games team. Now, people don't know the Empire State games was ill. So you would have, I think there was like a Bronx and Manhattan team. I think there was a Brooklyn Queens team. There was a Westchester team, which had all the Mount Vernon, Yonkers, and the Rochelle boys.
Right.
And then you had upstate squads that had like dudes from like Albany, you know what I mean? That area. And then you would even have a Far West joint, which had like Buffalo. So it was just like straight all-star teams.
Okay.
And then they would battle for the like supremacy of New York. So his pops was a big dog because he coached one of the New York City teams. His sons, and I say sons,
right,
Peter Nash, Pete Nice, and Brian Nash, and Brian was no joke neither. You know, so Pete played for Columbia. I think, he played for Columbia. He played D1. And then he had the gun, man. He was just water, jumper. You know, he's tall, good size, smart ball player. And his brother was a little bit smaller, but a little bit more athletic. He ended up coaching St. Francis in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Before, like, he was one of the last coaches, and then a couple of years after, you know, the school, they stopped having a squad.
Right.
But very New York. So luck of the draw, I just ended up being, you know, on Pete's team. So, you know, we would practice, we would have games, and, you know, he was just cool. He was like the coolest dude. Okay. So I had rhymes by then. I think I was like 14. So I was like, yo, I got rhymes, you know. He's like, get out of here. I was like, nah, I got rhymes. So I kicked rhymes. And he was like, that's actually all right. We would freestyle and all that. The funniest part was those tapes we had of Rick. We used to lie in the dorms, in the residences, because we would stay at Manhattan College. So we would be there and we'd be like, yo, we would steal Rick's rhymes and kick him for kids. Luckily I never did that for Pete, because like halfway through, he was just like, yo, you know, so he would rhyme for me and I was like, this dude's ill. And then I was like, damn, you real nice with it. I was like, yeah, no, I'm doing my thing, got a little deal. You know what I mean? With Def Jam. I was like, what? You had a little deal with Def Jam? So
he had the solo deal, right?
No. This time him and Search, I think they started to bond. What he did have on the low was he had the show. He had the We Could Do This show. It was him and Clark Kent.
Okay.
That was 89.9 before Stretch and Bob. It was Columbia, because he went to Columbia. Okay. So he gave me flyers. I walked all up and down White Plains Road. I still got a couple. I went to Mount Vernon. If I was in Yonkers, boom, I just stole them up on people's car windows, whatever. You know, never show. Hey, y'all need to check this out. This is the show. So that was like fun. That was like promotion. And by the end, you know, our team won. I remember the name of the team and everything. We were San Jacinto. He was junior college.
Okay.
And it's crazy because I just did a song. I just finished writing it. The song about Walter Berry.
Oh.
And you know, Walter Berry played for San Jacinto. So if you're a ball player, you'll appreciate it. I'm thinking like maybe there's like 1% of people in the world who loves it, but I hope Walt loves it.
No, you crazy, man.
Walt was a hero of mine, and Pete played with Walt on the Empire State team. There's pictures of Pete and Walt winning.
Oh, I don't know.
The Empire State team. So they played together.
Walter Berry, man. That was the man.
That was the man. Yo, he's 20.
I didn't get to play at the level. I went to IS-70.
Okay.
So like I played with Adrian Autry. You know if you're familiar with
Red.
Yeah. In IS-70.
Come on, everybody knows. My hood, Red he's a legend.
Yeah. I played with him at the school. IS-70. Okay. Like I said, he was Riverside and all of that stuff, but you know he didn't play. We ended up playing on the team for IS-70, but he didn't play because I don't know if he thought he was like, I stick to my, I think we were a little bit underneath him, man. But I, like I said, I had a lot of friends that played throughout those circuits that you're talking. Man, like Walter B, man, forget it. I can't wait to hear the song then.
Yeah, it gets pretty in depth. I ain't talking about when he was there with the Mike Tyson Mitch Green fight. I kept it to ball.
Okay.
You know, he was there the day Mike Tyson had Mitch Green. He was with Mike Tyson.
That was at the Dapper Dan spot.
Yeah. He was with Mike. He was chilling with Mike that day. So I just feel like he's a dude that doesn't get enough props. And I got my little theories. I'm like, I wish like he just missed being coached by Popovich. Like I talk about the whole thing. I talk about like if the Antetokounmpos honor the truth though, like you know what I mean? Because like he in Greece, that's where he really blew up.
Yeah.
So, in a way, it's almost like War ended up being like this, kind of like underground, And so I respect him on that level too.
That's
like
great.
I got dudes who played ball with him.
Nice.
Shout out to my man Chris Kringle. Chris, he played with him. So I just feel he's a New York legend and don't get enough shine. And what he did for St. John's, come on, you can't understate it.
Yeah.
That St. John's squad in general is
nasty.
Is mega classic, mega New York.
Hell yeah. Dope, man. That's crazy. Thank you for that.
No
you
doubt,
talked a little bit about rhyming early on, 12, 14. At what point does your brother and sister follow your lead, or are they already?
I follow my brother's lead. My brother started before me. He's 2 years older.
Okay.
So my brother was DJing and rhyming before. He was doing, he was doing clubs in the Lower East Side, and he would do parties everywhere he could find them. Him and my man, DJ Essence. So they would be doing, you get in where you fit in. If there was a party at the Boys Club in Mount Vernon, yo, could I spin? If there was a party at, the community center, Eatable, yo, can we rock? Oh, there's a talent show on Co-op in the community center. All right, we in there. So it was like that. Like before we ever went downtown, and he was doing his thing for a little while. But once I started rhyming, man, like I was just in cats' ears, man. I was like whether it was like I would be at Mount St. Michael in the bleachers in between games, like, yo, who want to rhyme? And it'd be like me, shout out to my man Asa, played for Young Life, also a dope MC. I was just trying to, have fun, and I knew when I was kind of nice when brothers would try to steal my rhyme books. Like I had brothers like straight up steal. I'm like, yo, that's my rhyme, B. Like you could ask me, at least ask me. So Then I started ghostwriting for my mans. So if we went to a party, I'm like, you need a verse. You know what I mean? Because if they throw the mic on, you won't, so I would ghostwrite for my mans, and that would be mixed results because it wasn't like I was giving them a reference or nothing. I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna write the rhyme, I'm gonna spit it to you one time, and then that's on you. And they would, they would push it back, flip it, bounce it all wrong. I was just like, but it was fun. It was fun, and I was like, damn, I think I could rhyme.
Were you a solo artist first, or were you in groups before the Juggaknots?
Nah, I mean, I was just rhyming. I wasn't in no group. I mean, I did a couple of songs with people. There are a couple of songs with me before even any Juggernaut songs. So I don't know if y'all remember the Far Side album.
Absolutely.
There's a dude on there called Buckwheat.
Yep. From the Wascals.
From the Wascals. So that's my man, Rashawn. He's from Westchester. When I had moved to Westchester, I knew a dude who was like, yo, you could rhyme. You should meet my man. So I heard him and I was like, yo, this dude's ill. So I remember probably one of the first joints. I don't have it. But we went to, it was me, him, my man Chris Liggio, a.k.a. Sugar Shadow at the time, who went on to do a lot of good things musically. He produced Don't Let It Go to Your Head for Brand Noobs. He did a bunch of joints, a couple of joints on the 2000 album for Pool Bar. But that's not one for. And it was me, it was us three, and we were like, yo, my man got a studio. And we're like, where? And he was like, Camden, New Jersey. And he was like, we got to go to Camden, New Jersey to do a joint? And he was like, yeah, it's cheap. I was like, all right, let's go. So we went out there, and me and my man Rashawn got on the joint. And that was before he was in the Wascals. And, I mean, I feel like I've never not been in the Juggaknots, but it was like, before we even called the Juggaknots, it was like, I'll try it. I'll give it a shot. And then after that, me and my brother really started working on stuff, got the 4-track in the crib, looked for different studios early on. And we did a bunch of joints. I ain't going to say what the name of the groups was before, because I did not sanction those names. But I'm a little brother, so I was like, "Where are we gonna be called that?" right. I'm trying to keep the peace. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to get lumped up in my sleep. You know what I mean?
What was you witnessing with your sister?
My sister, now her rise into the joint was interesting because again, we had moved to New Rochelle, and even that was bugged out because around the corner from us, there were the DeChalices, aka Jamal and Terry, which is Lord Jamal and his brother. Shout out to them brothers. And then I would see Pooh Bah riding around. Like I would see him doing this thing. And I was already a fan from Masters of Ceremony. And even other stuff, you know what I mean? Like I saw his name, you know, I love the credits. And I saw shit he was doing with like First Priority. He was producing shit for MC Light, you know what I mean? All of them dudes. So I had always had mad respect for Pooh Bah, still do. I feel like he's, I mean, you can't be more B-boy, more hip-hop than Grand Pooh Bah.
Right.
So I was like, damn, man, these New Rochelle dudes, man, they getting it in. So then at that point, you know, we was just getting around. There was a couple of like hole-in-the-wall spots that you could go to party. And then most of the times it was like Sweet 16s, just whatever. So my sister, my man hits me like, yo, my sister was telling me about this party where your sister was rhyming. I was like, what? So I just started hearing, coming back to me like, yo, your sister, I ain't going to say her early name neither, but it was not Queen Heroin. And she was just bodying. Like she would go to parties and just start rhyming. And then I was just like, damn. So I was like, yo, I was like, yo, why you holding the secrets? She's like, nah, I'm just trying to make my own name. I'm trying to do my own thing. I was like, I can respect that. But then at some point, you know, my brother was like, yo, you got to at least be on, you know, a couple songs on this album we working on. And then she did. You know, she got the joint Projections. And then, you know, she ended up with the joint, with the only collab really on the album was with my people, Sadigio. And she killed it, you know. She killed it. And she was writing her own shit and doing her own thing. And even before that, before she really got with the squad like full time, she was part of a amazing ensemble of females called the Gypsies.
Yeah. It was Gangali, I believe, and
MFW. 7 was one of the MCs. There was a lot of them, and they were like from different states.
Yeah.
And they were just, you know, they were doing their thing. So by the time, you know, we first started going downtown, because initially we wasn't really about the downtown life. Like I said, we was like, yo, I mean, I could tell you one of the weirdest. Before we went downtown, I remember there was a party for Slick Rick's bodyguards. So he had these twin, huge, I mean, these dudes were like 250 pounds, linebacker muscles, like knock you out by accident type dude. And it was in Ossining, one of their apartments. So I don't know how we found out. My brother ended up being cool with Rick, kind of cool with Vance, and definitely cool with Rick's dancers, Shane and Salima, and they're classic. You could see them, you know, Hey Young World video.
Yeah.
You know, on the Smooth Tip with Sweet Tea, like they're in a lot of videos. They're cool people. So we ended up in Ossining, and Rick is walking back and forth. His dudes are there. He's not even rhyming with dudes, but everybody else is rhyming, because I guess we want Rick to walk by and be impressed. Like, he's not going to be impressed. He's Rick. But we were just up in there. Somebody's bedroom or something, just rhyming. It was me, and it was like 5 dudes from Ossining. Shout out to Ossining. They got some, you know, some cool cats up there, and it was just like just battling, rhyming, and just laughing, giving each other pounds every time somebody says something ridiculous. You know what I mean? So it was like, it wasn't about that downtown life. But eventually you had to go downtown. By the time I met L, Len, Just, Trez. By the time I met them dudes, you know, and obviously Bob, you know, I met Bob when I was probably through Pete. You know, we pretty much we were pretty close to signing a Hoppo.
Okay.
And sometimes I wonder like how things would have been if we did, because by the time like they had just finished Pete Solo and George's joint, and then Hard to Obtain as well. So we was just cool. Like we would go chill with Stretch, not with Stretch, with Pete and with Bob at the office. They had an office on 7th Ave. And then sometimes we would just go chill with Bob and shoot around. So it was like that was our like, all right, cool. Like this downtown shit is different, you know. So by the time we, you know, they would have functions, be like, yo, just come downtown. We would go down there. But my sister, she was at this time, she was already like kind of like doing her own thing too with the Gypsies. So it was, you know, it was just a busy time. It was a fun time. Man, hip hop did not disappoint, man. It changed, it mutated, it turned into something else, but it did not disappoint. And it was all good. Like I think of so many amazing moments like in the Bronx. I mean, you're gonna know this. People don't talk about it enough, but there used to be these mount dances. You know, you remember the mount dances?
Mount dances?
Mount St. Michael dances.
Nah, I don't think so.
So the Mount St. Michael dances was like some really crazy hip hop shit early.
Okay.
So Mount St. Michael, Puffy went there, right?
Okay.
So he would throw the parties. He would be involved in this because this is like him being like, I guess a couple years removed from graduating, and it was like, yo, you know, he was getting his feet wet with promoting.
Right.
But there was certain parties where it was like Flex would come through and DJ, because Flex went to Our Savior Lutheran.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? He would be like, all right, cool. Like, I just need a DJ. And I've seen Flex DJ birthday parties for like his man, like one of my best friends and his brother, the Velasquez brothers. They were like best friends. Flex and Edwin Velasquez. My man was Dave Velasquez. I know I'm bouncing around a lot.
Okay.
But this one mount party, I remember because one, you had Rick just walking around with Jules. We were driving around with my man Solid C, and Solid C on the low was one of the illest MCs in our hood. Like, if you know type shit. My man was fucking hilarious. Just, you know, he was like 5'3", and he would have like the baddest 4'11" Puerto Rican girl with fat ass, and just like he just knew how to be like, yo, I'm gonna tell her this for me. And that was one of my mans, and he was just hilarious. So we driving around doing our thing, and then the moment was, so there was a drug dealer, this cat, Guito.
Okay.
And he pulls up, I could see it right now. It's Baychester and the Reed. He pulls up in front of this driveway and just opens his truck. So the Mount Dance, you couldn't get into the Mount Dance if you didn't have a hookup in Mount, but everybody tried, so there was like 500 people walking around.
Okay.
And he opened up his trunk and he played the symphony in a way that just, it felt like it was just so hip hop. I was like, God damn, this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, the cat Guito is well known. He was no joke. He was getting money from either war, but he had love for hip hop. And it's like, I miss those days where like everybody like kind of could agree, like, this is the good shit.
Yeah.
When he opened his trunk and blasted symphony, and just it was like time stopped, and everybody was like, "Yeah, that's that shit right there."
That was basically your first time hearing the symphony.
That was my first time hearing the symphony too.
Yeah, that's funny.
Which was wild because it was like, damn, I wouldn't want to hear it any other way.
Yeah. See, it's funny you said you mentioned that, because that's one thing that I missed from that time, is that there's so many songs that came out that you can connect to as something that happened that remind. So like for me, for example, like the South Bronx from BDP, for example, like I remember the very first time I heard it and what was happening, what was going on. And sometimes it was simple things, but it's that, I don't know how to explain it, man. It's that feeling.
I can't. It's just that feeling.
It had the same thing happen with I'm gonna mention two more: Sucker MCs and Houdini, 5 Minutes of Funk. Those two songs, same thing. I can remember exactly where I was, what was going on, and everybody's like react. I mean,
a lot of those times were like, all right, cool. I'm listening to The Awesome Two, or I'm listening to, Molly Moore and Pete Rock, or you know what I mean, or Red, and like I remember the first time I heard Just Rhyming with Biz, and it was just like, that's radio time.
Yeah.
But to be on the street
outside, it was different.
Shit, like he just opened a trunk and it was like, like gold came out of the speakers. Shout out to Gito, man. Thank you for that, brother. That was so classic. Nice, you know what I mean? So I was glad to have that foundation, and then later to be able to go downtown and like, I remember the first time I saw, Mos Def, perform like Universal Magnetic, and I was like, yo. With my rhyme books, let me just throw them shits in the trash. You know what I mean? Because it was just like such showmanship.
What do you remember most about appearing on Stretch and Bobbito show?
I have so many, like, I have so many, like, a lot of different emotions, because like we had times where I went up there just with the crew, just with my family. Then I remember going up there with like J Live and Tony Bones. I went up there, mad times with maybe that first Indelible, like when we had rocked the Indelible joint to the Blue Flowers shit. Like that felt like a moment. Even after it happened, I was like, God damn. You know what I mean? Because we never did Fire, really. And for them to throw on the Blue Flowers shit, shout out to Len, man. And just everybody just rocked that shit. Like that was a moment. And then later to be up there with cats like Copyright and Jakarta Motormouth and just like Camus. So there's a lot of, I don't know, I probably was up there like, like 4 or 5 times. And it each time it had a different energy. But that Blue Flowers moment was pretty crazy. I mean, I guess some of the earlier times it was just like, yo, I'm gonna prove myself. And I think I did. I think I did. I think I showed out for the squad. And it helped. Like it just helped the name to carry. The next day, like having cats just like say, yo, good shit. In the hood. And it was just, for what they did, man, they just gave you the stage. They gave you the right stage. And there were a lot of other shows too, but obviously nobody was Stretch and Bob. When I was in college, I went to Adelphi, and shout out to Riz, because Riz had a show. He'd let us just come up and rhyme whenever. Like he was like, come up and rhyme. It was him and my man Quasi, him and my man Wax Axe. It was like, because Riz went to Hofstra, he didn't go to Adelphi. And there was a lot of moments there too. I just got lucky, man. Like I feel like hip hop wise, I got lucky. I got lucky to come up where I came up. I felt lucky in the Bronx. I felt lucky in Westchester. I felt lucky when it started to be that downtown vibe. I felt lucky at Adelphi. I met some great MCs there. Shout out to, my man Reign Supreme, the Obvious Wonder, right now Carter P, my man Wisdom. Like we met it was fun. We would go to Hofstra and just battle dudes. And it was all peace and love. I guess the only time it started to get a little unlucky was when we got a deal. By the time we got a deal, I thought we were gonna in the best situation in the world. I thought it was like, I felt like Elektra had become what Def Jam was.
That was going to be my question. If you could elaborate a little bit about your experience, with Elektra.
Yeah, well, like how we got the deal. Shout out again to my brother, B Slim, Fever the Kid, Kev. He had made a way for us to get heard, and this is through his hustle. So he was producing for he's doing like R&B shit. So it was cats like Horace Brown, cats like Terry and Monica. When I busted Cherry and Monica and Terry, you know what I mean? That he had did like their first 2 singles off of their project, and they were dope records. And he put us in a position where he was like, all right, cool, we got some other shit we could do. So it was the Jason's Lyric soundtrack. So that was probably the first joint I ever recorded that ended up being on a major label, I guess. It was a soundtrack for a movie. So it was us and Buddy Guy. And that's one of the most well-known blues guitarists of all time. We just almost into that. We had records at the crib that just off of digging with him on them. So then I did some balls on that, and they were like, "Yo, what's up with homeboy?" And they like, "Yeah, that's my brother." And then, we got like, they said, "Yo, let me see what y'all could do," and we did a couple of joints, and they were like, "All right, cool, do some more." And then before you knew it, we were signed to East West Elektra. And at the time, they had P Rock and CL. They had Brand Nubian. They had KMD. They had DOS Effects. They were also on the Pendulum. Pendulum was also under them, so they had Diggable. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Probably Lords of the Underground.
Lords of the Underground, they them too. So
Leaders was on there at the time, right?
Leaders was on there. I think Cam, who was down with Cube, I think he had a deal.
Right.
Through them. So I know I'm forgetting somebody, but just so you get an idea, right?
Yeah. Some heavy hitters.
Was on East West, wasn't it?
Who was it?
DOS Effects.
DOS was on East West, yep. So we were just like, yo, this is a good place for us. We gonna rock this. They had just signed Old Dirty, Buster, on and on, right? But somebody else that had signed was Timbaland and Missy. And at that point, they were like, they force and they level of hit making. It was like, I think they just were like, we're gonna shift gears. So that's when you started to hear about them dropping this one and dropping that one and dropping that one. And
okay.
I remember we had one meeting, and it was like we was in the meeting, and honestly, we just wasn't there to play the game, man. And that's that's to our detriment, or that's to our credit. I don't know. It depends on your perspective. So I remember because they were like, play something that you really feel is in like kind of where you want to go with it. So I remember Adolph. Shout out to Adolph, good brother. At the time he was You know, now he's Aguilar. He was Adolf the Assassin at the time.
Right.
But he was just trying to get on. He was working stupid hard. He was producing for whoever he could, and you know, he's multi-talented brother. And he had to join Ghetto Girl, and you know, they had the video. I remember him playing it in the meeting, and it was just like, "Yo, this is it." And I remember he was like, "Yeah, you know, I'm just trying to get on. I'm trying to, you know, get them what they want because we would talk, me and him." And he was like, "I got mad other grimy stuff, but you know, and we just ain't really look at it like that. I play Jive Talk. I play Jive Talk in a meeting with executives."
Okay.
I thought they were gonna call security about it. It was like, what the fuck is this? But I mean, it's Jive Talk. I fucking love that song.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this is us. This is who we are. And they just ain't really see it. And that's okay. You know what I mean? That's okay. You know what I mean? So it was what it was. So by the time they dropped us, they were cool about it. They were, you know, they wasn't really stressing the masters or nothing. They just, you know, it gets to the point where it's like, all right, we got this tax write-off and they're gonna use it. And I guess we was under the tax write-off, you know, category.
Yeah. What year is this about?
I would say this is probably 94.
94. Okay. Yeah.
It's probably around 94.
Yeah, like you're saying, a lot of
by the time we got dropped.
A lot of extra getting dropped around that time. Yeah. You have can you talk a little bit about your session with MF Doom?
Well, there's a couple of sessions. One session, it wasn't musical. So he knew my engineer, and he was just saying what's up. But at the time he was homeless. So we was in Chungking working on, I think it was Lucifer. And he came to say what's up, and then he just chilled and he like listened. He was listening at the you know, on the console. And I was thinking, I actually thought there was one night when I was in the studio and the Fugees had come in just uninvited, like listening and stuff. It was Lauren and Praz. I was thinking Doom was there that night, but I don't think he was. I think that was me and my man Big Mister at Unique Studios.
Okay.
But the night that Doom came in, he was just chilling. He was like, "Yo, I like this shit." We were just building. We were, you know, my man. Shout out to Rich Keller. He mixed Last Days. Mixed a lot of classic shit. He mixed I'm Gonna Kill You. And I don't think it was I'm Gonna Kill You we were working on night. I think we was working on Lucifer. He mixed that as well. And you know, he chilled and we, you know, we was just chopping it up. And you know, I was just like, "Yo, it's really good to see you." And then he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna just go into one of these booths, these empty booths, and I'm gonna get a little bit of rest." I was like, "All right, you know, do what you do." And then late after that, you know what I mean? I guess the next time I ended up rhyming with him, but I don't know if he came into the session when we did the Fondling Fossils. That was at my man DJ Ellie's house. Was that a DJ? Was it at Ellie's house or was that the studio? I ain't sure, but I remember it was a bunch of us there. It was L was there, my man Seb was there, Seb Bash.
Okay.
And everybody that he might have been there that day because you know, like I remember seeing Q Unique.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was like everybody who was rhyming, I believe was there, but there were just so many dudes that there that day. It wasn't like, oh snap, it's Doom. It was just like,
yeah,
whoever was there was there.
Right.
So you know, it's I definitely wish I could have done more music with him. The joint after that I did with him was C Ray's joint, The Lineup, which is a crazy record. I mean, that's got Doom, that's got Trez, that's got. I mean, there's a lot of dudes on there. Myself, obviously, Rays. There's a lot of dudes. I don't want to forget nobody, so I don't want to list everybody.
Yeah.
But shout to Thurston was on a joint. There's just a lot of dudes. It was a good record.
Right.
Shout out to Rays. Hold your head. But yeah, man. I'm just a fan of the brother. That night we did get to chill. It was nice. For some reason it was just me. I don't know when my brother and sister were that night. Sometimes they let me gave me the responsibilities to oversee mixes, and just to have Doom in there was giving his opinion.
Right.
You know, it was dope.
Dope.
Blue Skies finally gets released. What kind of reception did you guys get when that finally hit the streets?
Got a lot of love, man. We got a lot of love. Stretch and Bob was playing it, and everybody. I think the thing with that record is that it just had a little bit of something for everybody. Even off the first one, we added joints after that. But even off the first one, it was like between, Epiphany, and then you heard, it had the original Lucifer, I'm Gonna Kill You, Jive Talk, Clear Blue Skies. It just had like a lot of good colors. And then when we added more joints, like, Love Maxin and then Sex Type Thing, it was like cats were just like, yeah, that's such shit. And I was like, I appreciate y'all. So, it was dope. Like we knew we had something. Again, I guess the label just really didn't see what it was, and that's no knock on them. It's a business. But we did have supporters. We had people who were like, we love Clear Blue Skies. We think that could be a big record. But then it would be like, could you throw a hook on it? We kind of couldn't, but that's a whole nother story. There is no master for the original Clear Blue Skies as far as a 2-inch tape. Our only master is the DAT for that, because we did it at Calliope.
Okay.
And y'all know what happened to Calliope, right?
As far as didn't something happen where they lost a lot of stuff?
Nah, they ain't lost. It was some shady business.
They had lost. Oh well, maybe okay.
They were recycling dudes' masters. So if you owed like $50 on a session, they were like, we're gonna keep your master.
Right.
And then the next night they would be like, yo, y'all, we got used we got used tapes if y'all need them. So who knows? Like if you bought it, like they tried to front it off like it was like you're buying used clean Ampex 2 inches.
Okay, so that's what happened.
But you were going over other people's shit. And some of those people could have been Black Moon. Some of those people could have been the Juggaknots. So the dude who was running it, I'm not going to say his name. A lot of people were upset with him. Ask Evil D.
That's what. Okay, because I mean, like I said, I heard. I was under the assumption that it was like that. Something happened.
It wasn't like a fire or a magnetic wand.
It was press, record, and play.
It was greed. It was greed, is what it was.
Gotcha.
So that was another reason why we couldn't adjust or modify Clear Blue. So it was what it was. Like that wasn't even the final mix. That was just like, yo, could we get something, to listen to, and then we'll come back and tighten it up. But for all intents and purposes, nothing should be done to that record. So industry rule number 4080. It was an early baptism.
Right.
With that one, but we still had supporters, man. There were a lot of supporters, and it was dope. There were people that like, yo, do the showcases, do this, do that. We did. there was a very famous one in the Bronx at the Castle. It was a artist showcase, and it was like, all right, so y'all gonna go, and this guy Jay-Z's gonna go, and then you guys will go after that. I was like, okay, and I was a huge fan because, you know, whatever, my ears to the street. In my lifetime, you know, I had like every version of that, and so when he's performing, I'm just a fan. All my dudes was like in the other room at the bar. I'm like, yo, this is Jay-Z. And like, God, whatever. I'm like, yo, whatever. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of lyricists. So I'm there right by the stage. And, you know, so, you know, that was cool. The Castle's a famous spot in the X, strictly for the ladies video. So I was just geeked off of like performing in there. And again, I was a fan of probably everybody performing that night, but a huge fan of Jay-Z from early. So shout out to that man.
Can you talk about your time in the Indelible MCs?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like once Bob introduced me, I think I had met them when we did a show at Wesleyan at Bob's old school. And it was like I was already a fan because he had been playing Cold Flow stuff, and they were fans because Bob was playing our stuff. So that's when I met Just, L, Len, and I think Trez was up there that day too. So then after that, we just exchanged numbers, and it was like, yo, come to my hood, you come to my hood. And you know, I would just go out there, chill with L, call in, talk to Just, and then it was like the downtown scene. So if cats was like doing stuff, we'd see each other a lot. And then we were just really supportive of each other. I remember when we had a show at Club Vinyl, and this was like one of the ill. I mean, this show had the Arsonist, Nonfiction, Polyrhythmatics. I don't want to forget nobody, but you know, the Juggaknots, Cold Flow. It was just a dope ass show. I was like, damn, this is a scene. Like that Club Vinyl show for the cats who were there, and cats, everybody just destroyed it. And I remember I was talking to L. I was like, yo, I'm gonna do Clear Blue Skies, but I think I had a mask of George, like a George Bush mask. I was like, yo, you want to throw this shit on and you want to do, you know, you want to do the father part? And he was like, yeah, fuck it. I know the record. So he did it, you know what I mean? And he just on some, let's do something different, let's have fun shit. And my brother was cool with it. He said, yeah, let him do it, man. Let's, you know, that's a different approach. And so, you know, just to hear what was going on, you know, I would go to L's crib in Brooklyn. He would play me shit. Everything was disgusting. And then, you know, I would hang out with Trez. I would hang out with Len. Len actually got family in the Northeast, so we knew a lot of the same people that we grew up with. So it was seamless, man. It was real seamless. And I just was, you know, I was just really a fan of their music. And you know, I don't know, man. You know, like it was definitely like you hear about artists' egos and all that. And we had that because we're young men. But it was also like some real humility, and cats was genuine fans of the music first. And I think that helped. You know what I mean? It was like, before I want to become a superstar, I want to make great music. So it could be like the stuff that, you know, inspired me. And a lot of people shared that.
Right.
And that made it easier. It was mega competitive. I'm not saying it wasn't. But, you know, at that point, they're like, yo, we'll just, you know, L came up with a name. And after a couple of, you know, edits, it was like, yeah, let's just go with that. And you know, we didn't make a hell of a lot of music, but the joints we made, I felt were amazing. And just to, you know, to put that stamp on it, I would say mission accomplished, man. And we still cool to this day. I haven't talked to Justin in a while, but you know, every so often I'll talk to Al and I talk to Len fairly frequently. Talk to Trez often. Haven't talked to BMS in years. And obviously I talk to my sister like every day.
All right. Yeah, just curious, how come, what caused the 10-year gap between the two albums?
A lot of things, man. Honestly, I think parenthood had a lot to do with it. By the time we had finished the first one, you know, my son had just been born. Kev had young children. So by the time we got dropped, it was like, you know, gotta work. You know, I couldn't just run around being Joe Hip Hop.
Right.
Now with a mouth to feed. And then so I'm working in a group home, and then it was like I come home and you know my lady at the time, mother of my first two children, she was like, "You got this call from Prince Paul," and I was like, "All right." Now my group home shift was like 10 to 6 in the morning, so by the time I'm barely incoherent, by the time I walk through the door like 8 o'clock, I was like, "Whatever, get the fuck out of here." I go to sleep. So then I wake up, you know, and she's like, "Here you go. Here's the number." So apparently, Paul, when we were at a lecture, East West, they asked us, well, who would you like to work with? Because we were pretty much self-contained as producers. And, you know, we had a short list, and Paul was on it. So I guess they gave everybody else. I'm not going to say the other producers. Y'all know who they are. Paul said he went on tour and he was bumping that shit. He had a tape with like alternate mixes of like pretty much like everything that was on the EP.
Gotcha.
And he was like, "Yo, I need to fuck with this dude." Well, Paul wouldn't curse. He was like, "I need to work with this dude." So I was like, you know, he went to Fat Beach and he thought the Clips was Stretch. So he's like, Stretch for your number. And in my mind, I'm like, Stretch don't work at Fat Beach. I was like, it's a Clips. So good looking out DJ Clips for the 1,000,001 things. Most things, a lot of things in hip hop on our side, on the underground side, Clips probably looked out in some way, shape, or form. So he's the one. So he had my number because that's my man, and he gave my number to Paul, and I'm just trying to account for the gap.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm in a group home. Paul gave me some bread. He was like, "Yo, I need you to work on this. Be serious." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be serious." So I bought a little brother. Word processor. So I'm at the group home and I'm like listening, making sure everything's cool. And I'm have my little notebook, doing the shit. I'm like, I'm gonna be official. And then on the weekends, I would run out there to Long Island. I'll run out there to Amityville, and we'd record. And you know, the first time I went, it was just surreal. And he had the script, and he was like, you know, this is what it is, and these are the gaps. This is where I need you to write a song about this, and this is where I need you to write a song about that. And you know, I took it serious. I took it as a challenge. I was like, "Yo, I want to really rock on this shit. I want to show people, you know, that Paul was right for picking me." And honestly, there was never a time where we left the lab and he was like, "Nah, that shit is. We got to do that over." Like, there would be multiple takes while we would work, but he was pretty happy with everything I did. And then I started hearing some of the other joints, and I was like, "Yo, this shit is gonna be crazy." So sure enough, you know, like that 99, you know, by 1999 when the joint had dropped. That, you know, that took some time.
Yeah.
We did some touring. And honestly, just on the Juggernaut side, we put out some damn good music between those two albums.
Mm-hmm.
If we were smart, we would have basically Use Your Confusion would have been a third album.
Okay.
Because I mean, there was some amazing. There was a couple of amazing 12 inches. So one of the 12 inches was General Lee. And General Lee was crazy. And, you know, even a couple years back, you know, I got a call from, you know, my brother Neil Drummond, who was at the time was working with This American Life, NPR, and he, you know, he does a story on General Lee, you know, like 20 years later. Talking about, you know, the whatchamacallit, the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
And then I had, you know, by the time I had issues with my kid's mom, you know, then I did She Loves Me Not joint. A shout out to my man DJ Ellie, who blessed me on that one. Crazy fact on that one. There's a part where there's a female voice to that's supposed to be my kid's mom that's like, you know, trying to, you know, put me down easy and shit.
Right.
So that's Ellie's cousin, Melina, the director. So she's the one who directed all those Insecure episodes.
Okay.
She's from Co-op. She's from the Bronx. So shout out to Mel for those for the voiceovers on She Loves Me Not. And you know, I got to produce one of my favorite joints I've ever done, which was P. Russian with Vinio Mojica from you know, my sister rhyming on it.
Okay.
So, you know, although there was that gap, you know, I did a lot of, you know, collabs, and as far as just actual Juggaknots music, we put out some high powered 12 inches.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know, man. We were more about the music than the business. Always have been, and we trying to catch up with that. But you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. By the time we got ready to do Use Your Confusion, I was extremely proud of it. You know, maybe again, the business side of it was not what we envisioned, but we wasn't mad at that. You know, that Amalgam Digital, we took a chance with a new label and it just didn't work out.
Gotcha.
Happy 25th anniversary, by the way. Prince Among Thieves turns 25 this year.
Word up. Just
Before
did.
we move on to your latest project that you released in 2021, all the people that participated in that particular session, De La Soul, Big Daddy Kane, do you have a particular memory of working on that particular album?
Well, I mean, Paul didn't have cats like in the same like space together. If it was just me and Big Sha. It got real funny, I guess, by the time we did the video. Because by the time we did the video, that's when you started to see people like the movie, the mini movie. And that's when, you know, it was like Sadat, Exhibit, Everlast. Who else came there? Poetic came through, Fruquan came through, Chabrak came through. So that's when it was like I was meeting my heroes, you know? And you know, the whole time I was with my hero, I was with Prince Paul. But, you know, like straight up, just to be able to like with it culminating in that and just seeing all of these dudes who were just really mega ill. You know, me and Sha, we just, you know, we soaked it up and we had a good time. You know, everybody was cool. Everybody was just peace. I'm trying to even think think if De La, I don't believe they came through for that part. You know, they had different days when they shot, but you know, I don't think I was in the part of the I Like It joint. Um, so you know, just meeting all of those dudes, all of those luminaries was like really cool. Huge fan of all of them, and then and Kane, you know what I mean? Like we toured with, I ended up touring with Kane and just seeing him every night, just put on the most professional and meticulous hip hop show you could. Just like it was an MC clinic every night, just watching him. So
Right.
got a lot out of that experience.
Was the Weathermen supposed to be a whole project, or just you guys having fun doing a few 12 inches?
Yeah, again, that was one I didn't spearhead that one. That was definitely Cage's baby. And at the time, you know, I would talk to Cage all the time, and I was like, all right, cool. And I just like rhyming around dudes that I thought were really dope, and everybody in the you know in the Weatherman was like really fucking dope. Kamu was like the funniest person on the planet. Um, I still think Copy Pete is one of the illest MCs ever. So you know, and Tame, you know, just like hilarious and people don't know how cool Tame was, man. He was just like a cool brother. So it was just like Yak, all just good people, you know, good MCs, and you know, it maybe it did more, but just to be in a room and be able to spit a verse, you know, like side by side with those dudes, and to hit the marks. I like that. I just like the idea of a challenge and getting up there and trying to hold your own against dudes like that. So I definitely was going to try to be a part of that. But, you know, we did what we did. And then, you know, overall, you know, the mixtapes, albums, whatever you want to call them, you know, those ended up being dope, really dope projects, you know.
Right. Yeah. Before we talk about hindsight, I got one last question as far as the Prince Among Thieves. You mentioned briefly that he would give you like the script and then you would come up with the song, but like, how exactly was that process? Like he just kind of gave you the skeleton of what the storyline was, and then you came up with the song, and he would like, how did that work exactly?
Nah, we were talking. We're like, we need a song like this here.
Okay.
So be like, you know, we're gonna do a joint right here about, you know, you trying to get on selling drugs. So that was Put the Next Man on. So just, you know, be ready to talk some outlandish shit about that. And I was like, heard you. And then he was like, yo, we're gonna do this shit about, it's gonna be steady mobbing, but it's gonna be ridiculous, and you're gonna be a fucking clown, and then we're gonna call it steady slobbing. And I was like, heard you. So it was like every time he heard it, you know, an idea, it was like, I mean, the illest one was probably Pain. Okay. Pain just was like so ill, just the beat, the timing of it was just so different. And he was, you know, he was like, yo, you got shot, you dying. So that was, you know, they were all challenging, but that one was definitely challenging. And I just appreciate that, you know, he was like, yo, I got, you know, he had the faith that I had that kind of range to cover that, you know, if something go from Pain and steady slobbing, you got shot to Put the Next Man. You know what I mean? It's like there was a lot of chambers in there. So for him to have the faith to be like, yo, I'm gonna see what you could do.
Do you feel that having the opportunity to display that range, you know, kind of elevated you even more than what you were already at?
I mean, you know, that ain't for me to answer. At the end of the day, you know, I'm just trying to be an MC. You know, I'm just trying to be able to make my points and you know, make people feel something,
Right,
make
right,
that
right.
shit sound good. You know, ride the beat, find the pockets.
Right,
And
right, right, right.
you know, I was extremely blessed when it came to, you know, the first efforts with my family and you know, Clear Skies. I felt even more, you know, more blessings, not more, but additional
Right,
blessings when
right.
it came to working with somebody like Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I felt extremely blessed by the time we got around to doing use your confusion. You know what I
Right, right,
mean?
right.
Like I was able to rock with a lot of my dudes that I was doing shows with. You know, all of them dudes that I rhymed with. I got to do a joint with Sadat. I
Mm-hmm.
did a joint with Rick. I did a joint with Wordsworth. I did a joint with Shot R.I.P. Jax. I got, you know, Rob O's on the joint. Like these are all dudes that I had my own connection to as a fan and just as a person. You know, shout out to Jay Zone. He did the Crazy Eights joint. And you know, I'm not sure why that joint it's bugged because like some dudes will come up to me and be like, yo, that User Confusion shit was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then other cats will be like, yo, I never heard it.
Right, right,
So
right.
it's just like, you know, and there was just moments on there, you know. I felt like there was a lot of catharsis on there, you know, that was after something like She Loves Me Not, which was real shit. You know what I mean? Like my kids was about to move to Atlanta and, you know, I was about to, you know, to go from seeing them every day to not seeing them, but a couple times, you know, a year
Yeah,
type
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
And that's not really what type of father I wanted to be. So I was so angry. So then when I did a joint like Leon Phelps, you know, um, that joint is insane. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to Leon Phelps, you're like, yo, this dude right here got some problems. And then I got to do the joint, you know, with my man Nine Double M, Bronx legend. We
Yep.
did this joint called Never. So it's like I don't skip over that project lightly. Like whatever happened label wise, promotion wise, it is what it is. But very proud of that project. You know, I work with, you know, a lot of producers the cats didn't know at the time, but shout out to my man B Money. We got 2 joints from Oh No on there. You know what I mean? Shout out to my man Susio. I was with him last night. Susio Smash. He had A&R the project.
Yeah.
So you know that project was dope. Music Confusion was also a good look. In a way, I felt elevated because we never did something with so many guests.
Right, right.
Like that wasn't our thing, and it was like from a kid growing up in the Bronx and bumping the, you know, the Indian town with the Impeach the President joint to doing a song with Rick. You know, it just meant a lot.
Crazy. Yeah, for sure.
It meant a lot.
Can you talk a little bit about 2021's hindsight?
Yeah, hindsight, man. I really wanted to get back out there. And it you know, it was my first solo, you know, and I got other joints on deck, but at the time I had nothing. And in a way I was like, damn, man, a little intimidated, but also I just changed my mindset. I was like, man, ain't nothing like perfection is a lie. It's production over perfection. So I just, you know, I had songs. I thought people would like them. People could get something from them. And I put it out and people dug it. You know what I mean? I had like some dudes that I really appreciated, like reach out and be like, yo, this is good shit. And I was really encouraged. You know what I mean? It was like I had joints that had been in the safe for years and then other joints that I just completed. You know, I was able to do a joint, you know, with political focus, you know, at the time, be able to talk shit about Trump. I enjoyed that. I still feel people don't use this music for the power that it has, man. And I guess that's not cool anymore, but I don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, I'm gonna use it for what I need to use it for. And there were just joints on there, man. I got to do a joint when Maceo produced. And then I had producers that cats never heard in life, and some of those were some of the better joints on there. I got to work my man B Money again. The joint Eye Popper. I still want to get a video done for that shit. Just on principle.
Right.
But it was a good project. It was a good project, man. Again, really good with the music. Business is not great, but Fat Beats looked out. Shout out to my man Matt Diamond, had a great publicist for the project, and for a cat, in his 40s, just talking real shit, talking about shit that we deal with, keeping a spice in a relationship, and you know what I mean, and looking back at a career and as an MC and questioning it, talking about teaching, and talking shit. You know what I mean? Still having space to just get out there and just talk shit. That's hip hop to me, man. Your experience and a little braggadocio, and you mix that all together and you give it to the people. So
where are you and your other, your brother, your sister, where you guys at now as far as in terms of making music? Anything coming up with you three working on a project together? Or even you ever thought about like you and your sister doing something together?
Well, I mean, everything we do together, even when it's separate. Like I was in the studio with my sister the other day. Amazing record that she had mixed. So it's like even when it's not like
an actual
straight up like thing, like we're all supporting. My brother does a lot of the leg work in regards to business.
Okay.
And we just working on stuff as a label still.
Okay.
I think we got a couple of joints that when they come out is, people gonna be like, all right, these cats still got their ear to the streets or whatever.
Nice.
And I got a couple of projects I'm trying to drop. So far it's like an album and an EP. Okay. I'm still mixing joints, but it might end up being 2 albums.
Nice.
I might add to it. And my sister's pretty much done with her project, and I ain't gonna leak none of her, her guest appearances and all that with who's on there with her, but there's some dudes and females. And we, at the end of the day, we still fans, man. I guess if I wasn't a fan at that point, you wouldn't even hear from me. We wouldn't even be talking.
Right.
On the days, I'm still a teacher. It takes a lot of effort to do what I do because I care about it. I'm not going to shortchange these kids from my hood. I'm trying to get their life right, and it's not easy. I'm serious about that education though. And then I got a youngin. Went back and started again. My daughter, I got a 7-year-old. That takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But I still love this. I still want to get out here. I still want to be respected as a producer and an MC, because I don't put, I got some joints out here in the world. Some pretty good produced joints. So, it's always a challenge. It's bugged to be, I'm going to be 50 this year. And it's like, part of me is like, fuck you doing rapping and shit. But it's just
don't look at it like that, man.
I do and I don't. Like at the end of the day, it's just like nobody questions when Martin Scorsese's 125 years old and he's still sitting behind the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to the other Bronxite. He went to Cardinal Hayes.
Yeah. And also something to keep in mind, which I'm sure you do, is that you have people like Sincere, myself, and a lot of others that are fans. Like we're still around. You know what I mean? Like I feel like sometimes your artists, your peers forget that there's fans that are the same age as you. And
I'm so glad you said that, man. And because at the end of the day, like I feel like we all, you know, it's almost like there's a generation of us right now that done came up, and it's like nothing against the young boys, but I feel like the shit we're going through right now as men, as women, as human beings, that's like, all right, cool, I'm 50, but I grew up on hip hop.
Right.
Like if hip hop's 50, like literally, like
Yeah.
we that's our timeline.
Yep.
So it's just so entrenched in us that it's just like I just can't not do it.
Yeah.
Only, you know what I mean? It's like I'm in the car and I'm like, damn, what can I play with my daughter? No MOP for a couple of hours. You know what I mean?
Right,
I was playing MOP Warriors, and I was just like, damn. All right, baby, let me throw on this Daylight. So we went to Balloon Mine State with it, but it's just like it's such a part of us. Mm-hmm. So I don't see me dodging it. It's like I can't. And it's just still just the dopest art form. I'm talking about all of it. You know what I mean? Whether it's the graffiti, which I can't do, but I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Production, I can do. DJing, I can do very little, but I'm a fan.
Right.
You know, I got a radio show with my dude Rhino, man, Gorilla Grooves. They had that joint for how many years? And then my man Fred Ones, he had to take a job in New England, and so I'm in there trying to help out, just talking about hip hop. Like it's just in me, and other people do other shit, man. People, you know, how you gonna tell me not to rhyme when you running around hitting a little ball around, you know, playing golf and shit? Like that's mature. Really, fam? You out here hitting a little ass ball and shit, talking about you need to grow up. My man, you playing golf, B. That's just terrible. You know what I mean?
Breeze, we appreciate you joining us this evening, going through your history, and like I said,
man,
happy
my pleasure,
25th, and everything you got going on in 2024. Before we get out here, can you shout out your social media and where we can keep up with you moving in the future?
Yeah, man, I pretty much I'm on Twitter, Breeze Brewin. I'm on Instagram, Breeze Brewin, and then you know there's Juggaknots on Instagram, Queen Heroin on Instagram. I'm not too big. I am old, so I don't have TikTok. But I'm sure at some point I will if it'll help, you know, get the word out. But that's pretty much it, man. I'm pretty. People follow me. I do a lot of following back. I'll check out people's sites. Not doing so many collabos right now until I finish some of this work. Just letting the people know. But summertime that heats up a little bit more because if I'm not teaching, I'm writing more. But thank y'all, man. Thank you for the invite. Talking about some real New York shit.
Yeah. Please let me know when you drop that Walter Berry.
That Wall Boy. I'm gonna try to see if I get him to do some ad libs on the end. I'm gonna see maybe Pete could help me.
That'll be crazy.
So I'm gonna see. I mean, because all of it is not complimentary. It's just real. You know what I mean? But it's like I follow him, and he just seems like a humble dude. And New York, man. It's New York. It's hip hop. It's ball. It's in our DNA, man. So
I just want to take a quick second also to shout out your sister. She was humble enough to grant us an interview about a year ago maybe. And the reason why I want to shout out, it is extremely hard to get these women to come on and talk about their journey through hip hop. I don't know what it is. We had that conversation with your sister, like but shout out to her, man.
Shout out to Queen Heroin. She's such a good person. She's like an artist on many levels. She's a painter. She's a great mom, and she's a great sister. I love her, and she's a beast.
Oh yeah,
like she's a beast. Like I done been in a room with a bunch of dudes. This and that, bust this and that. She rhyme and it's quiet. And those are moments where I'm like, damn, man, I'm glad you're my partner. Not even like you're my sister. Like, I'm glad you're my partner.
Right. Well, man, Sincere said, thank you very much
for taking the time. Shout out to Kev Fever holding us down on the business end, and shout out to y'all. Shout out to my DJ Boo,
Yes, sir.
another member of the Juggaknots that don't get enough recognition. So thank y'all, man.
No doubt.